Tithing, growing up as a young adult, it wasn't there. I mean, there was maybe an occasional offering every so often, but I never thought I had a budget for tithing. Like, I didn't know that I needed to really incorporate that into a budget. And so, you know, as a college student, as a young married person with a family, like, there just was no money for tithing as far as I could see. And my first husband never made enough money for us to even cover our bare essentials. And so I was like, tithing, there's no money for tithing. So it was not happening. A big reason why the marriage fell apart was the finances, just the decision-making on his part. I met my second husband shortly after the first marriage ended. I wasn't looking for a relationship, it just sort of happened. The second marriage fell apart, and I'm in this house, and I have a mortgage, and my husband is like, well, I'm not gonna be living there anymore. I don't need to help pay. And I didn't make enough money to pay the mortgage and pay all the bills. And the mortgage company wouldn't work with me to keep me in my house. And this all happened right when the housing market blew up in 2008. And that just sort of added to the problem. And long story short, we ended up having to sell our house as a short sale, and we lost every piece of money that we put into it. So it just was more financial burden and more disappointment and more frustration. I was trying to hold on to God's promises, you know, things that he said in the Bible. I was trying to understand them. I was trying to make sense of them. I was trying to believe them. But my circumstances made it look like I couldn't believe them. A couple of years went by, I was coming to the Ridge, and I don't know, I must have heard Mark do that 90-day challenge maybe 2 or 3 times. And I can't say that there was like any monumental thing or it was just a knowing. I just sort of had this reaction like, it's time. And I can't explain it anything other than that. It was just like, I just knew that it was time. It was just like God was saying, trust me, it's time for you to let go. It's time for you to do this. And it was just a knowing. And I can't explain it as anything other than that. I just knew. You know, my giving started to change slowly. When God started to ask me to tithe, like, I just knew I needed to start doing something, and I started doing something small. I was like, this is all I feel like I can do right now. So I just started with a little bit. And I'm like, I'm gonna see what happens when I do this little bit. And then I did a little bit more. And eventually I started to see a correlation between my giving increasing and my wages at work started to increase. And I started giving, and somehow miraculously I had enough money to cover all of my bills, and there seemed to be enough money, and it didn't make any sense to me because I'm like, I'm suddenly, you know, giving some money, but I still have enough. And the numbers initially like didn't entirely make sense, but like I said, then eventually my income started to go up, and my faith started to increase, and I started to give a little more and a little more and a little more. When you decide to trust God and be like, God, I'm all in. I'm jumping into the deep end. He just keeps showing up in big ways. When you say, I'm done trying to do it myself, he will just blow your mind over and over and over. And I never thought that would happen. I thought that was only for other people. God would never do that for me. But he did. He just keeps showing up in such big ways. He's done some miracles in my family even in the last couple of years, and there's just been so many things that I just know there's just nothing I can't trust him with. He can just absolutely be trusted no matter what you see, no matter what's happening. He's got it. You don't know it, you don't see it right away. You might not see it for a really long time, but he's got it.